And I'm back. So sorry folks that I have not been uploading any videos for the past 11-12 days now. There are a lot of things that just happened in those days. Yeah, I have been busy and a lot of problems, and I don't want to go to another day without me doing this, reading this book, recording, editing, and finally uploading. So I guess I'm gonna be uploading this on Mother's Day. Actually, this Mother's Day today in our country, and in I guess in the Western Hemisphere still not yet Mother's Day. So happy Mother's Day to every mother out there. So yeah. Also, I'm sorry if I sound weird. I am having a really bad allergic reaction to something. I don't know what. I don't know what. So anyway, we're gonna be reading this section of the book, um, The Overthinking Cure by Nick Renton. So here it goes. Well, you shouldn't challenge your thoughts. A common technique, for example, in CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, is to challenge thoughts that arise and try to replace them with more accurate ones. The trouble is, though this intellectually sounds right, it so seldom works. Remember, experiential experiential avoidance. When you argue with yourself, you're essentially disagreeing with your current reality and adopting a judgmental, tolerant attitude to what is. You cannot help what automatically and spontaneously emerges in your mind. So what help will it do to argue or fight against it with more ideas about what you should think instead? In fact, this process can more often spell the beginning of an anxiety and rumination spiral, rather than an end to one. Yes, our thoughts are information symbols and stories only. They are not necessarily true. But if we can adopt a mindset of curious and compassionate investigation, we can be aware of all of this, without going to judging, forcefully pushing ourselves to think something else. At the very least, sometimes it's not possible to argue with yourself over what the right thought is. You often don't know. If you're dealing with unknowns, it's not helpful to try and talk yourself into the thought you think you should be having. Rather, try to practice discernment. There is no need to challenge or argue with yourself. It's not a war. Instead, be soft, gentle, and curious. And ask yourself, is this thought helping me in any way? By helpful, we want to know if it's going to lead us where we want to go. Note that we are not asking whether a thought is true or good. It's not a moral judgment. This is because a thought can be true but still very unhelpful. Dwelling on it may be a bad idea, even if it is 100% accurate. So many of us get caught up in overthinking because we are making judgments about good and bad, and maybe even beating ourselves up in the process. But this is not a useful metric. But it's easier to shift to a question of helpful and unhelpful. This brings things down to earth and puts them into context of your life and what you're trying to achieve. Just like we did when we considered ACT. We use action as a yardstick. A thought can be said to be helpful if, in having it, we are more inspired to act according to our values. If a thought encourages us, makes us more resilient, gives us ideas for future plans, helps us cope, or teaches us something, it's helpful. We basically want to take a thought, hold it up to the light, and ask, what does this actually create for me? Some examples will make the point clear. Here's a thought. My relationship is making me unhappy. If you think this thought, what are the results? You'll be unhappy, and your attention and focus will be drawn to this unhappiness. And that's about it. The thought is true, but thinking it doesn't really go anywhere. If you are guided by this thought, the most likely scenario is that you just sit with those feelings of unhappiness. You'll feel frustrated and passive. You could also think everything's fine, there's nothing to worry about. And in this case, the thought will be untrue and unhelpful. Guided by this thought, you put your head in the sand and stay in a relationship that isn't working. Finally, you could think, I don't seem to want to be in this relationship anymore, but I haven't made any choice yet. I seem to be afraid of making a decision. This thought is different. It acknowledges the unhappiness but makes room to solve the problem and take action. This one is a lot more useful than the other two, because if you're guided by this one, you're more likely to take action and come to a resolution. Rumination style thoughts seem helpful, but on closer examination are not. They don't give you any practical information or suggest a path forward or hint at a solution. If you can start looking at your thoughts in terms of their actionable value, you'll be able to gain perspective, be more proactive, and use thinking as a tool rather than a pointless exercise in stressing yourself out. Well, what if you can't think of any solutions? This is tricky, but the answer is obvious. If thinking doesn't and can't help your problem, then don't think about it. You might be too upset or emotional to see a solution at that moment, or you might need to be patient and wait for the situation to evolve a little. Either way, rumination won't help and may in fact muddy the waters further. In this case, find a healthy distraction. Come back to the problem later and look at it fresh. This is not the same as avoidance. You are consciously acknowledging that a problem needs solving, but you're also recognizing that you're not in the state of mind to find the solution just yet. Returning to ACT from the previous section, you might notice yourself being completely overwhelmed and upset, and choose to say to yourself, I'm not getting anywhere here. I'm going to stop, take a breather, and go for a long run until my head clears. This can be enough to calm you down and get you into a frame of mind where rumination won't take over. Your brain is like a powerful problem-solving machine. Thinking is what it does. But ultimately, it's you, your conscious awareness and intention. Who is in charge? If you're obsessed with worrying about a problem that cannot be solved, then it is up to you to turn the brain machine off or redirect it. Without anything to stop it, your brain will furiously try to solve an unsolvable problem. But you can always connect with that bigger part of yourself, with your observing self, and choose to drop rumination that isn't helping you. Here, acceptance comes into play. This may mean us consciously choosing to acknowledge and even embrace a situation that isn't great but can't be changed. We have to be in charge of our brains and say, thanks brain, but your problem solving is no longer needed. Remember that there is no need to challenge your thoughts or do battle with them. You don't need to try and stop those thoughts. Instead, know that as a human being, all kinds of thoughts will pop up in your mind, helpful and unhelpful, true and untrue. But all they are is thoughts. You can always be aware of them, notice what is happening, and choose for yourself what to do with them once they've popped up. A helpful thought can guide you, inspire you, help you see a solution, or bring you a learning insight. An unhelpful one keeps you stuck going in a loop. It constricts your awareness and keeps you in a strange tunnel of your own creation. Inside that tunnel, we miss out on important information. To be calm, collected, and in control, then doesn't mean we have pristine, clean minds and only good thoughts coming up. Instead, we have all the same thoughts and ideas as normal, but we are now outside this cycle, able to watch it from afar, and consciously choosing whether any of these thoughts work for us and our values. But freedom to know that having a thought doesn't mean anything. It's just a thought. The way off the carousel of rumination and overthinking is simply to get into that observing self and realize that we can decide what's important. We can sift through those thoughts and pick out what's useful and drop what's not useful. We can choose how to act or whether to act at all. Our conscious awareness and action are where our power lies. Our thoughts are not able to control or trap us. So yeah, I don't think there is much to say from me about this excerpt. Everything that is needed to be said about why you shouldn't challenge your thoughts are already said by Nick Trenton. Because our mind is like a river fighting against a current will just make our lives harder. So what do we do? We go with the flow and we steer the boat. We direct our minds to wherever you want the mind to go. We shouldn't fight it. We just need to guide it. Sometimes we just need to, even though it is paradoxical, I guess, we need to try and relax. Maybe that's why we're here in the first place, because anxious people can't relax, right? However, one of the reasons that we can't relax is because we keep on fighting our thoughts. We keep on fighting our mind, and that doesn't really help. I find it helpful when I just let my mind be. Whatever it thinks, just go ahead, mind. Just think about it. And eventually it gets tired. And we can do something productive. And we can also do something productive while the mind is ruminating. If it keeps on overthinking past mistakes, you can just do your laundry, you can wash dishes. All of those simple chores. We are not trapped in our minds. Our minds are our weapons. Complex weapons, dangerous ones. But It is ours, and we just need to master it. So, yeah, I hope this helps you as much as it helps me. And hopefully, we keep on improving and we keep on hitting our goals. And someday we will meet our dreams in life. So, yeah, that's it. I just want to share you this excerpt. Thank you so much for listening. That's it. Bye.
Please, I'm begging you.